Okay, so here we have a 8-foot long VHF marine antenna, and you can see that it has the connector here for the PL259 coax connector for the radio, and here is a threaded male connector for the antenna to screw into a mounting point on your boat. The problem is that this is the mounting point that I have on the boat. It's actually threaded to screw on the boat this way, and then this screws into it. And you can see that this will just screw in on the outer threads there of the antenna. The problem is this is a fixed unit on the boat. So what has to turn is the antenna, not this. And when you hook up a PL259 connector to it on the bottom, the connector can't rotate here. So when this gets put on, of course, you can run this up through the mounting collet, they call this. You can run up through the mounting collet, that's not a problem. Put this thing on, like that. Once it's on and you start turning the antenna to screw it on, you can see what's happening to the cable back here. It just starts getting twisted and twisted and twisted more and more back here, which causes damage to the cable. In fact, if you can see on this one, take this off, you can see that this end of the cable, which I don't use anymore because it got damaged, but you can see that one, it's got kinks in it. That's not good. And two, it even kind of cut right there from rubbing against the metal inside here, getting kind of twisted up against it and cutting it. So that's not a good solution. The problem is I have not been able to find any solution for a mounting here that will not twist the connector. The best I've been able to come up with is I've created a short length of wire with two PL259s on either end, and then I can connect it here, screw it in without this end being connected, so it just twists freely, and then this one will connect into the rest of the wire that runs back to the radio on the boat. But that introduces yet another connection point, which is going to have some signal loss. So anyway, not a good solution. What we'd love to see is something where we can hook up a 259 on the bottom and then have this a quick connect of some kind that will not twist the cable. You can just connect on and not twist the cable. So enter this piece here. This is the only one I've been able to find that's like this. Digital Antenna makes this model F234, and this is going to be an unboxing here of this, that claims to be able to solve this problem for this antenna. And this is a digital antenna, using it with their F234 ferrule and stainless steel collet. So let's open it up and see what we get. Okay, out of the bag, we have the collet there. And it looks like we have maybe some tools here. And these look like a plastic piece of some kind, probably for the side of the ferrule. Okay, so open this up. Alright, and here's what we've got. So this consists of two parts, the ferrule and the collet. And these twist apart. If I understand correctly how this is supposed to work, this piece can come all the way off here so I can show you what's going to happen. It didn't come with any instructions, so I'm kind of going off of basic information I'm able to find. But if you look, this has some fins up here in the top, and when you screw this on, those fins will compress around the antenna. So theoretically, with this fairly loose, we should be able to run a wire up this I could run it through the side too here. It looks like that's what this is for. And then we hook on our connector onto the bottom of the antenna. And then this should slide over the base of the antenna. And the instructions I saw before, or at least I heard on a video, is you're supposed to leave some of this here at the bottom. Okay, that's a little snug right there. And then push it in until it's all the way in. And then crank this down. See how this works. So far it's pretty easy to turn. Okay, there we go. Alright, so that's just hand tight there. And I can move it a little bit when it's hand tight, but it's on there pretty well. Okay? So therefore this can stay connected to your boat without having that cord twisting, because the antenna didn't twist at all when we did that. I'm guessing these guys here are to get it tightened down nice and tight so it doesn't come off on your boat. Let's see what we got. There are a couple of wrenches here. A little bit of heat shrink for the handles here. Little metal pin wrenches of some kind. And I'm noticing some holes in here. Let's see, so this goes, this way is tightening. So I'm assuming then this will go in like this. Do this like this maybe? Then you can crank it down. Yeah, looks like it. And that's not coming out now. So, it appears like that's going to work out great for what we want to do. Notice the cable didn't twist at all when we were doing that. Looks like this little unit here, let's see. These are little plastic pieces. And it looks like they have two. One is if you want to run the cable through the hole, if your mount here cannot run the cable through the bottom, my mount has a hole through the bottom to be able to pass that cable up through, so that's not going to be a problem. If it was to the side, it looks like you can snap this on the side, but if not, it looks like you can snap this little plastic piece on the side, like that, to keep the water out. So from what I'm seeing here, I'm pretty impressed. This is a pretty elegant solution for being able to have your antenna easily connected and removed without damaging the cables when you're doing so, for one that has a twist type of a connector. In our case, we like to take the antenna off in the winter time. We don't boat in the winter time here, and so as part of the winterization steps, we remove the antenna, and that would make it very easy to do just by twisting these. Looks like I'm going to need to use the wrenches now to get it off, but I can do that. And then loosen it up, take off the antenna, and then disconnect the PL256 connector from the bottom. So how much length does this new F234 Ferrule and SS Collet add to your antenna based on the existing mount you might have? So the mount we had on our boat ahead of time, this one here, which goes into a ratchet mount that can flip up and down, it's 6 inches long. And if you look, I've lined it up right now with the bottom, or the top, I guess, of these threads on the antenna. Okay? So if we now slide this in all the way down, you can see it may be just, an 1/8 of an inch shorter than what it was on my other mount here. So maybe 5 7/8 inches long is how much more length it would add from here down to where your other mount is. So for us, that's going to be perfect. It won't add, it'll be almost identical, just a little shorter if anything, which is better in our situation. The threading on the bottom of the ferrule here, the piece here, is your standard 1 inch, 14 threads per inch connector here that you'll see on most Marine VHF antennas. So that should be compatible with most of those. Just this is the one from my boat before, and looks fine there, about the same thread. The other thing is, as I mentioned earlier, I've never found another connector that would work on most antennas for this. The only other thing I've seen is Shakespeare makes a quick connect that will allow you to quickly attach and detach your antenna. The problem is you have to have a proprietary mount on the bottom for the antenna connector, and of course a proprietary antenna. For us, those are deal killers, because if I run into trouble somewhere, and some of the places I boat are pretty remote, and if I run into trouble and I need a replacement antenna, or something happens to my cable and I need to get a replacement cable, I can't be messing around with proprietary connectors that are hard to find. We need to be able to use just standard VHF marine equipment, and make sure we can get to that. So we discounted going the route of Shakespeare, but this looks like this is the only other solution I've found from digital antenna to be able to do a quick connect and quick disconnect for a Marine VHF antenna without twisting the wires on the connector. So there you go, the digital antenna model F234, made in the USA.